Proposition 3.
Thank you. Ryan Miller with the Legislative Analyst's Office. Proposition 3 concerns marriage. First, I'll start with a little bit of background. Prior to 2008, same-sex couples were not allowed to marry in California. But in 2008, the state Supreme Court ruled that same-sex couples could be married. That was in effect for several months, and then in November 2008, the voters passed Proposition 8, which prohibited same-sex couples from being married in California. That remained the law until 2010, when federal courts ruled that Proposition 8 was unconstitutional. And that has been the law in California since 2010. But despite this change in the law, the language from Proposition 8 remains in the state constitution. So Proposition 3 would strike that language, that voided language, and it would replace that with language that's consistent with who can currently be married in California. Because there would not be a change in who could be married, we estimate that there would be no change in costs or revenues to state and local governments.
All right, once again, this was put on the ballot by the state legislature. The reasoning behind it is that there was Justice Thomas in the Dobbs decision made some gestures towards possibly using the same reasoning to overturn Obergefell, which is the decision that allowed same-sex marriage nationally. And so there's some chance that if that should happen, then Prop 8 would go back into effect in California unless this change happens. So in support, we have Equality California, which is a LGBTQ advocacy group, the ACLU, Planned Parenthood, an association of family therapists and marriage therapists, the Democratic Party, the governor, the League of Women Voters, Labor, and the Chamber of Commerce. And then against it, we have the California Family Council and the American Council of Evangelicals. And then as far as newspapers, there's only support in terms of endorsements from newspapers, most of the major ones in the state, and none have come out against it. And then the funding is also very lopsided, where we have Kevin DeLeon, who has a campaign fund for 2026 for lieutenant governor, has put his money behind several of these initiatives in order to do advertising this year. Draw your own conclusions. And then we have other senators, teachers associations, nurses, various other groups in the state. So there's, a chunk of money in favor of it and none against. What questions do you have about Prop 3? All right, it's not a complicated one, so let's move along.